stuck to the plan. Always said that we would stand up, never ran. We the fam and loyalty never change up. Been down since day one, look at where we came from. Jumping out on anybody who try to say something. One thing about it, got a problem, I got the same one. Money rolls, we fold. Plenty clubs, we close. Follow the same code. Never turn our backs, our cars don't even lose control.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Associated Wrestling Press's College Wrestling Review. I'll be your host, ESPN broadcaster, Big Ten Network, Student U broadcaster, NCAA broadcaster for the 2015 NCAA Championships, Eric Olenowski. And today we are joined by my old drill partner, the one, the only, paramedic, Grant Ankney. Grant, welcome to the Associated Wrestling Press's College Wrestling Review.
Eric, what's going on?
Not much. I'm excited to talk wrestling with you because I know if there's a couple people that I love talking wrestling with, we always have Court on the show. You're a great friend of Court, so Court loves talking wrestling. JJ Johnson loves talking wrestling. My brothers do. You love talking wrestling.
Love it.
So let's just jump right into this weekend. They had a lot of great matches this weekend. We'll start with I'll just review real fast. I was going to say right quick. And if you guys are wondering what this is, I'm growing the mustache out. I cut the hair.
That's since November, correct?
Yeah.
So you've been the no-shave November. And
Look at that. Game time. All right, so we got Cornell and Mizzou. That's 4 and 5. Ohio State, Penn State, and Iowa, Oklahoma State. And then since you and I were both at the Michigan State duel, let's just throw that in. Actually, let's just start with that. The Michigan State duel. Michigan ends up coming out on fire, winning the first 5 weight classes. The thing about this duel, if there was 2 matches that if you're telling someone to watch, I would have to say the match between Fisher and Javier Gauska.
Yep.
And Riscala and Abinator. Let's start with the Fisher and Javier Gauska match. How did you feel about that?
Well, first, I wasn't expecting that to start off with. I didn't expect that to be the 141-pound match. When they introduced the names, I was expecting to hear Rossi Bruno versus Gauska and hoping to get a rematch there. Gauska lost to him at the MSU Open, but when I heard that he was up to 41, I didn't realize he didn't make weight, but I was actually kind of excited for the fact that I thought that we were going to be able to get pull up a victory there. Fisher's tough. He's filling in for Dutton, who's injured right now at 33 or at 41, so he's up from 33. He's tough, man. He's good on his feet. Gauska, that's the first time I've ever had a chance to watch him. The kid has a lot of potential. Looked like he was nursing a knee injury. Not sure if he came back too quick. Heard it really early in the first and didn't really have his legs under him, but still showed a lot of heart. And I think if there was 5 seconds left, he has that match in hand. He hit a nice little mixer at the end.
Yeah,
and, Just ran out of time. So
I agree. And the thing, this is it. I think the mental toughness wasn't there for Javier Gauska at the beginning of the match. And I say that because if you watch the match, he wasn't getting to his shots. Once he realized he's hurt in the second period.
Yep.
What am I going to do? Am I going to get sorry about that. Am I going to get tech fault? Because that's what it looked like it was heading towards that. Fisher was taking him down with ease and cutting him. So, Gauska finally came out and said, I'm going to take a low single on my own. We'll see where that goes from there. Fisher ends up getting the win over number 11 ranked Javier Gauska, but he was up a weight class, so we're not even going to worry about that. Let's not forget the Taylor Massa. What did Logan Massa tweet me? Logan Massa tweeted me, it was a head in the hole. So it was a head in the hole, and I said, okay, I shouldn't got my terms wrong. It was a head in the hole, but with full intention to.
I like Taylor. He's a good kid,
I do too, and that's why I stopped.
Yeah, I like the whole family. They're awesome. Taylor's a great wrestler. Logan's going to be just as big of a stud, if not better, when he gets to college. The fact is, that move, it's not the first time he's knocked someone out cold doing that move. I think the Purdue kid 2 years ago off a red shirt, I think he actually did it again during his red shirt. I mean, it's just, the refs need to realize that, yeah, he's getting back points, and he's sometimes getting takedowns on it, but when you're putting people at danger like that, it's not what we want to see in the sport.
No, and I agree 100%.
It's a dangerous enough sport as it is, but
yeah, and he cuts off that carotid artery, and I just think, I would be give the takedown. I'm fine with the refs giving the takedown. Give the takedown.
Sure.
Call it potentially dangerous because that he was going to get the takedown anyways. Don't be afraid to call it potentially dangerous. Give the takedown. I think he earned the takedown, award the takedown, but you don't need to be getting knocked out.
Yeah, don't let it get to that point though.
No, it should have never got to that point. So Massa ends up. They review it. They call it just.
Minkle was on top of it too. He was pointing stuff out in the video. He was active. He was in the ref's face. It was awesome to see, but didn't get the call he wanted. So
no. So ends up University of Michigan picks up the 6. Let's jump to the Riscala and Abinator match. How'd you feel about that one? I wasn't expecting this. If you were to ask me, what would actually I was asked. And so they said, what's it going to be? Michigan State and 8-2, 7-3. That's what I expected. I didn't expect Riscala to beat Abinator. He ends up beating him.
Maybe if you would have asked me last year, I thought Riscala was wrestling a lot tougher last year. At this point in the season, I would have said, maybe this could go anywhere. Maybe John would pull out the victory. The way that they've been wrestling this year, John not wrestling as tough. Abinator is sometimes looking really good, especially on top, sometimes on his feet. I would have said same thing, Abinator by a few points for sure, but Riscala wrestled tough. I mean, a couple things didn't go Abinator's way, but hey, that's wrestling. You can't leave it up to the refs, and you can't expect that stall call at the end of the match. I know Michigan was looking for, so.
Right, and I was highly disappointed in the refereeing for that match. I really was. I think wrestling's turning to an offensive sport. If we're going to make this an offensive sport, they need to call stalling. You didn't see how many stall calls were. What they do is they wait to the third period to call stalling. You can't do that.
Yeah, that's not right. I don't like that.
The only time stalling gets called, 10 seconds left, someone's up by 2. They're running. Stalling. Yeah. Of course. If that would have happened in the first period, out of bounds, we're neutral.
Right.
Throw a caution at them. I'm throwing cautions like this. When I ref, I throw cautions with the pinky. Keep that in mind. All right, University of Michigan ends up winning that duel handily. Not really competitive. As expected, absolutely. Let's jump to the next duel between and if you haven't, this is episode number 16 of the Associated Wrestling Press's College Wrestling Review. Special guest here, Grant Ankney. If you haven't caught episode number 15 with Alan Waters, make sure you go do that. Speaking of Alan Waters, one thing we talked about is Missouri, number 5, going into Cornell, number 4. Them traveling to Ithaca and taking on Cornell. Big shock. Southern Scuffle Finals, Alan Waters, Nishan Garrett.
Yeah. Waters taking it to him there.
Right.
Using the mat, using his mat skills to pull out the victory, so.
Right, and so I'm expecting a rematch. I'm sure you were expecting a rematch.
Yep.
Nishan
doesn't make weight.
Doesn't make weight. And you mentioned earlier, what did you say earlier about his weight?
I just don't think he looks like the biggest 25-pounder. I didn't think the weight was an issue for him. And especially, an hour after weigh-ins when he's wrestling, they usually start off at 25. The kid's firing off shots like he's firing off so many shots they can't keep up. I didn't think that the weight was an issue. To see him go up to 33 because he missed weight was a shock to me. And then to see him get handled by a guy that I never really heard of.
Right.
To be honest,
and that's Zach Sinnen. Zach Sinnen beats him 6-2. I would have never expected this, but you have to think something more is going on. When you miss weight, and we'll say the case in point would be Javier Gauska. Gauska, you mentioned earlier, was favoring one. I believe it was his right knee, favoring the knee. So you think a 33-pounder, not really a big 33, or not really a big, not really a big 33-pounder. Why did he miss weight? Potentially, maybe he couldn't run.
Maybe he hasn't been in practice the last week. He
right.
hasn't been active in practice, and
so maybe you think Nishan Garrett's in the same boat. Either way, he ends up losing to Zach Sinnen 6-2. Other notable matches Cornell only won 3 matches. They won Real Budo, Dylan Palacio, and Gabe Dean. Which
those are their studs. Other than Garrett, those are their studs that you expect to win most of the time. Gabe Dean, I expect to win all the time. When he loses, shock to me, the kid's a stud.
Yeah, and how do you he's wrestling Willie Miklas. He wrestled Willie Miklas in the semifinals at the Scuffle. Yep. So he knew that this was going. I was actually talking to him earlier this week. He knew that this was going to be a rematch. You mentioned it. He's great, but how did you feel after Cliff Keen? What was your take? Were you like, what's going on?
Basically, I think he took 2 losses there. One to Meeks.
He did.
One to I'm drawing a blank
Third
right
and
now.
fourth.
I can't. What's that?
Excuse me?
Who else did he lose to? I can't remember who he lost to for 3rd place or whatever. But either way, 1 loss is surprising. 2 losses is just unheard of when it comes to Gabe Dean.
Right.
I thought maybe Ed Ruth came out of graduation, came back to that tournament and beat him a couple. I don't know what happened, but but Gabe Dean seems to be back in form after pinning Thomasite. It's all downhill from here. I think that he's going to get his wings back, and like I said, the kid's a stud. He's not very tall. The kid is a huge 84-pounder.
So big.
He's a Hulk. So
man, that's okay. He lost those 2. I'm glad he did early in the season because that really shows that you have to be down. You can't always be at the top. You can't always be number 1. And maybe him being chased for he came into the season and we put him on such a high pedestal as the media.
Yeah, that's true. He had a fresh phenom season and
right, and that we expect so much out of him. Like you said, you
riddling off some really close matches. Reminds me of like Jason Surtis, another highly touted freshman last year. The kid's gonna lose eventually this year.
He's gonna have to.
He has to, and hopefully he takes a loss early. But same thing with Gabe Dean. He was winning really close matches. Ends up taking a couple losses. Seems to be back to form now. So
yeah, I'm with you on that one. So, any other notable matches that are to talk about? I mean, we mentioned if you look at down the lineup, Alan Waters picks up a forfeit, which I hate. That's the one thing I hate in college wrestling.
Throw someone out there.
You have to. Mizzou ends up winning 27-9, and they're just on a hot streak this year. They are
in Ithaca too,
that's scary, but maybe.
Brian Smith has the boys wrestling. Old Johnny Olenowski's old squad is coming to play now.
I know. Hey, they could be dangerous at the NCAA tournament. It's scary. It's literally scary to see. I mean, because I don't think the best. I say this every year. The best people don't All-American. It's how it happens every year.
Yeah.
It's where you get drawn in.
That's just my battery.
Okay. All right. So 27-9 on that duel. Let's jump to the Big Ten. Okay. Ohio State and Penn State.
Great
let's get the notes ready. They start at 25. Tomasello, Jordan Conway. If you were to ask me, Tomasello's 7th, Jordan Conway's 8th. If you're saying, you're wrestling 7th and 8th, that's going to be a pretty good match.
Mm-hmm.
Tomasello came out firing on all cylinders. Ends up winning 11-2. This is scary. This is the Tomasello that we've
been waiting for, really. I mean,
yeah.
The kid, another brick. He looks like a little Logan Stieber, the way he's built. A non-stopper. He's a type of kid, if you break in the 3rd period, pack your bags and go home. He's all over you. He's gonna take the match. Kid, right. He doesn't have a stop button.
No, and I'm putting together some. I guess this would be a perfect time to announce that I will be covering the University of Michigan duels for the Big Ten Network. So I'm excited for that. This weekend, the first duel that I will be covering will be University of Michigan versus Ohio State. I'm putting together notes for our production meeting before.
I'll be there. I'll be at that meet too.
All right. What do you think about this? Tomasello the Tank Engine. A little play on words there.
I like it.
It. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm going with Tomasello the Tank Engine. So if you're watching on the BTN and you hear Tomasello the Tank Engine, expect it. And it came from yours truly, Mr. Show Enough. Let's move to 33. Top 10 matchup, Johnny DeJulius comes off beating Corey Clark. So you think Johnny DeJulius, if you're ranking 33, oh my gosh, good luck with that.
Flip a coin.
Right. Who do we put first? You don't know. So you're saying, Corey Clark goes down, Johnny DeJulius beats him. Jimmy Goolibon, he's on another level this year.
Yep.
And did you expect Goolibon to beat DeJulius after DeJulius beats Corey Clark?
Not really. No, I would say I thought DeJulius, it seems like the kid's got hand strength, like a grip strength, like a 60-year-old bodybuilder, just that man strength. I mean, honestly, the guy, he beat Corey Clark, but he didn't look good in the third period doing it. I know Ohio State took a couple weeks off during winter break there and had some time to themselves, but he gassed. But the thing is, he beat Corey Clark. Corey Clark's been on fire this year. He's been tough. He goes out. I figured takes Goolibon out, but Jimmy had other thoughts, I guess.
Right. So Goolibon ends up winning that match 5-4. 41. What do you expect? Defending 3-time national champion comes out fall 251. So that brings the duel to 10-3.
Yeah, I mean,
you saw that Penn State was in trouble. Once you light the fire, it's hard to put out with if you don't have a fire extinguisher. Oh, speaking of fire extinguisher, your shirt. Nice. Another play on words. Look at me. I'm on a roll tonight.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about this. Hunter Stieber. Actually, I think we talked about this. Grant and I went out and got dinner on Saturday night.
Yep.
I want Hunter Stieber. Now, if you're Ohio State, and my take, I'll give you, I don't know if I would bring Stieber back if he wrestled Hadashelt, and then who was next?
He goes out and wrestles Brandon Sorensen.
Sorensen, yeah, from Iowa. Yeah, and Sorensen, by the way, we'll get to that next. Scratch that. But would you bring him back if you're looking at that? Are you worrying about the team and getting him,
I think you got to look at long-term, really. I mean, you don't bring a kid back who hasn't wrestled. Obviously, you're the one that sees him in practice. You don't bring a kid back who's not ready to wrestle Drake Hadashelt. I mean, not only is the kid big at 49, he was ranked number 1 virtually all year last year. I think he was, top seed NCAAs and everything. I mean, that's my opinion. You don't bring him back and feed him to the Wolves like that. I think we talked about it. You said let him get some open competitions, get a few wins under his belt. Starts off 0-2. I mean, that's not like Hunter Stieber, but no, he seemed to be back in form as well.
Yeah,
put together a good win for Zach Bites.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned I think you throw him to one, send him to the mock community
a little bit.
Yeah, get him, 21 minutes of matches. Throw him out there, a couple 7-minute matches. You don't even have to wrestle the whole tournament, Get him a couple matches. That's all it's there for, because there's a difference between wrestling shape and in shape. If you're in shape, you're cool. If you're in wrestling shape, you're beans.
Yeah,
you rather be. Yeah, if you're cool, then I'm beans. I'd rather be cool than beans. You know what I mean? So, picks up the big win over Bites. Dylan Alton picking up a win over Demas. I wouldn't have said this.
No.
And Demas almost. Did you see the inside trip Demas almost in with?
He's been hitting inside trips all year.
Yeah.
The kid's tough, man. He's another kid that can take some time off during a match, but when he's on, he's firing. I thought
totally
for
agree.
Sure, I thought for sure he was taking out Dylan, but it's kind of good to see Dylan Alton put together a solid match like that, considering, a little unfortunate. The last couple of years hasn't, been taken out of the lineup here and there, but hasn't really lived up to his potential. But that happens.
He hasn't. And you don't hear that a lot from Penn State. I think these are him and his brother are. trying to be politically correct. We'll just they're Penn State. You always hear of people performing when they go to Penn State. It just hasn't been the case. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, Kale usually has his team ready, and the thing is, when someone, I'm going to get my charger, but when someone doesn't perform, they always have someone ready to go. They got someone in the back. You know, their second and third teams are better than most people's starting squad. Right.
So Alton ends up picking up the victory, sudden victory, 3-1, gets a takedown. You good? What's going on here?
I'm just going to get my phone charger. My phone's going to die.
All right. Next up would be, how big is that place? Oh my gosh.
Hey, we got to live a little comfortably here, okay?
How many people are in there?
We have 6 here and 2 at our other stations, so.
There's only 6 people in that whole building?
Yeah.
How big is it, square feet wise?
13,283. I don't have any clue.
I thought you were gonna use curse words there.
No.
Yes.
Not only do I never swear.
I know.
Work, so.
I know. And your mom's gonna watch this, so.
My mom.
Oh my gosh.
She'll be like, all right, here, we got the charger on. She'll be like, did you do an interview with Mouse or something?
Is that what she calls me?
Yeah, always has.
Oh, grow up. All right.
Business.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Associated Wrestling Press's College Wrestling Review with Paramedic Grant Ankney. Hold on, you're frozen. Oh, we're good. All right. So we were at 157, 165. Bo Jordan and Garrett Hammond. This is. I was watching this match and he wins.
Not decisively, like.
No, 10-6. The match with Nick Moore. If you watch that.
Oof.
Yeah, and you wonder. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that match with Nick Moore. I wasn't expecting that. I know Bo Jordan's a stud. That inside little heel cup he did in the first to take him down, and then the tilt. I was like, okay, the kid came back at the right time. He's for real.
But
no
now
one's
you're
on Dieringer's level. No one's on Dieringer's level this year. He showed that by taking out Sulzer pretty bad, but Bo Jordan has a chance to actually be in the finals against him this year as a freshman, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah. Absolutely. I completely. The Nick Moore. Yeah, if you watched him wrestle Nick Moore, you just saw the dominance that he had. So now you see him wrestle Garrett Hammond, and you're just wondering, did he come back maybe too early? You said he didn't, but then now, did he maybe re-aggravate an injury? Because I know you were saying earlier
possible, yeah.
that his foot, was it his foot?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. He's had a foot issue for a while, so.
Okay. Pretty credible source that you got this from, or you just blowing smoke?
Pretty credible source. All my sources are credible.
All right.
If I'm not getting it from the source, it's a credible source.
Look at that. You heard it first, people. Kenny Court's over McCutcheon 4-2. Not a surprise there. This was a surprise. Kyle Snyder finally gets his first big win. Finally, over Morgan McIntosh, and in a decisive fashion. 6-1. But he took control of this match from the get-go. He got, and this is what we've all been waiting to see. So he beats his first All-American. Is he here?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, he's halfway through that Big Ten season. True freshman, huge hype coming out. Expected to be maybe that piece that Ohio State needs to put together a team title finally. I think that he's starting to come around. I didn't expect him to beat McIntosh like that. I don't even think I expected him to beat McIntosh, to be honest, let alone 6-1. He threw it to him. So, Kyle Snyder, he's tough, man.
Yeah. So he ends up getting his first win over an All-American, Jimmy Lawson, picking up the win over Tavanello.
Great train.
Yeah. Dude's scary. He really is, man. I don't... He's scary. I think he could... I like watching him wrestle.
Yeah.
It's kind of pick and choose when he wants to wrestle, but when he wants to wrestle, He's
He gets
there.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does. He has some shots for a heavyweight, so it's pretty impressive. 22-15 is the final score for this duel. And I don't know. Did you see it coming? I guess I would say Ohio State would win. I don't.
I think I would, but you just look at Penn State the last 4 years being 4-time Big Ten champs, 4-time NCAA champs. I mean, you expect them. You don't expect them to lose. So when you feel like they're maybe the underdog, it's like, nah, not Penn State. But yeah,
Right.
I mean, this year they got a couple guys redshirting, and Ohio State is. I think this is their best lineup they've had in quite a few years. So
Right. I'm
I
excited.
do expect them to win.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and
NCAAs are going to be awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many teams vying for a national title this year rather than just, okay, who's going to get second, you know what I mean? So, there's like six teams, 7 teams that could win it, honestly.
it's scary. You got
You got the
Iowa.
Big Ten teams, Minnesota, Ohio State. I don't even think Penn State has a chance, honestly.
I don't either. I really don't. You need national champions. If you're going to win it this year, you're
Hey.
going to need.
I'm probably going to have to go, buddy.
All right.
Hold on, let me wait. 1 second.
No, you're cool. Take your time. I know you got a job to do.
Medical alarm.
Yeah, I got to go.
200.
All right.
Appreciate
Ladies and
it, man.
gentlemen, yeah, that's been it for the Associated Wrestling Press's College Wrestling Review.